Hello, everyone. So it is starting to get a little bit cool here in the Midwest, and so I thought that it would be good to put together a video focusing on some fall looks using some new Nars products. Now, Nars is a company that in the past I have not been able to use at all because all of their products did irritate my sensitive skin. But over the past 18 months or so, they have introduced quite a few new products with ingredient lists that are much better than the ones that they used in the past, and I have done fine with all of those products, and I have also been having a lot of fun with them. So I am getting to the point where I'm starting to think that Nars is my favorite quote-unquote clean beauty product company, and so I thought that it would be good to talk about some of their new products that I have really enjoyed in this video. So one of these products is a new cheek palette, and this includes 6 different shades of blush and highlighter. And although this is designed for the Christmas season, I think that it also has been working really, really well for me as a fall palette. In addition, I have really liked their line of Powermatte lipsticks, and they have introduced several new shades of these lipsticks, so I purchased a couple of these new shades. And then also in this line, they have released a line of lip pencils, and I have been enjoying these as well. These are available in 10 different shades, and I picked up a couple of these too. So I thought that in this video, what I would do is that I would demonstrate each of these cheek shades individually and put together a really quick 5-minute makeup look to complete it, including the Powermatte lipsticks and a Nars eyeshadow palette that I happen to have, and a few other products. So yesterday I filmed some footage of me putting on these products in natural light. And so as I talk about the products, I will show you this footage so you can get an idea of what the products look like in the real world. So first, a little bit of information about me. I'm 59 years old and I have dry and sensitive skin. There are certain ingredients that always do irritate my skin, so I avoid all products with those ingredients in them. In addition, I'm looking for products that allow me to create quick 5 or 10 minute makeup looks with a minimal amount of fuss. So I'm looking for products that do not irritate my skin and that also perform reliably well for me. So in terms of this palette, I was a little bit worried about it when I first purchased it and started trying it out because the colors in it do seem to be kind of on the bright side, and because many of the products that are out there these days in terms of blush products tend to be so bright that they really overwhelm my face, because what I'm really looking for is a much more muted type of a look. However, I did want to try out this particular palette because it's a new formula for Nars. In the past, all of their blush products have included either talc or other ingredients that I find to be really problematic. But this one doesn't include any talc, and all of the ingredients look like they would probably be okay for me. So this palette does include a couple of ingredients in it that some people might find to be problematic. One of them is called polysorbate 20, and the other one is PEG-12 dimethicone. These ingredients would keep this product from being sold as clean at Sephora or by Credo, but my own experience is that the standards that those particular retailers have don't necessarily correlate all that well with how well the products work for me, and then I tend to have much better success in terms of predicting which products are going to work by looking at the EWG standards, and EWG thinks that those particular ingredients are only mildly problematic, and I would agree with that. The other thing that I found is that if I use these shades on their own or with a really neutral lipstick, that these shades do tend to pop a lot, but that if I use them in combination with the Powermatte lipsticks, which have a lot of pigment also, that the look seems to be much more balanced and that it's a little bit dressed up, but that it doesn't look like there's anything that the blush is really overly dramatic. So one thing that I always think about with regard to this is that Bobbi Brown, who is now at Jones Road, suggested at one point that you probably don't want to use a shimmery shade on your lips and on your cheeks and on your eyes, and that it tends to work a lot better if you use a matte shade in one of those cases. And I think that that's probably true, that for me, if I'm using a shimmery eyeshadow and a shimmery blush, that if I'm using matte lipsticks like this, that the look seems to be much more balanced and something that I can really pull off much more easily. So although I was a little bit worried about this blush palette to begin with, I have found that it's worked really well for me and that all of the colors look really nice on my skin, and that I've been able to get some good use out of all of these colors. And so now let's talk a little bit about the Powermatte line of lipsticks. Now actually this lipstick line started out with a liquid lipstick, and I did not have very much success with that particular liquid lipstick. I found that it really tasted kind of yucky to me, and that also it's a very thin formula that I found to be quite difficult to draw a nice lip look, especially if I was using a brighter shade. So I talked a little bit about the Powermatte liquid lipsticks on the video that I did on the Lisa Eldridge liquid lipsticks, and I found the Lisa Eldridge versions to be much better for me in terms of working out and feeling good to me. These Powermatte lipsticks, however, they have worked out really well for me, and I have picked up on quite a few different shades. So I feel like these lipsticks are the ones that I really am inclined to turn to when I want a lipstick look that is more bright or a little bit more dark or well defined, and that certainly that will last for quite a while on my lips. So I used to really look to MAC lipsticks for that, but I think that these work even better, and that they also feel really good to me. They don't have any taste at all, no added ingredients that are supposed to flavor them, and they also don't have any chemical sort of taste to them that I find to be objectionable at all. They just feel really good on my lips. Now the formula, what it does is it starts out as feeling quite creamy, and then almost immediately, like within 30 seconds or a minute, turns into something that's a bit more dry. So what I always do when I wear matte lipsticks, and including these matte lipsticks, is to put on a little bit of the MAC Prep Plus Prime lip primer on first, and then to put the lipsticks over it. And I think that for these especially, that has worked really well for me. And that even though these can be a little bit dry, if you use that product first, then they really feel fine to me. And they certainly do last for quite a while, even longer than the MAC lipsticks, and longer than other lipsticks that are in my collection as well. So these lipsticks really do come mostly in brighter colors. So I have several of these that are on the reddish side, several of these that are on the sort of brownish pink side. And I think that all of these are really attractive. There are a few shades that are more like pink or peach and that are kind of light, but that really I don't think of this as being a lipstick that I use when I'm trying to get a nude type look. So this is a lipstick that I am using primarily when I'm looking for a bolder lip and that I want to last for quite a while rather than wearing off right away. Now these lip pencils are actually very similar to the lipsticks, so they are designed both to outline your lips and also to fill them in. I think that they might be a little bit softer and a little bit more hydrating than the Powermatte lipsticks, but I really think that they're very similar in terms of both the look that they give and also in terms of how they feel on my lips. And there are only 10 shades in this, and I think that even more so than with the Powermatte lipsticks, that these are all fairly bright colors. So again, if you're looking for something that's a nude, then you're probably not going to find it in this line. And when I'm looking for a nude type of a look, then I'm going to be reaching for a different kind of lipstick. And I would say that all of these lipsticks are very pretty colors. I feel like they've all actually worked really well on my skin, which is not always the case. There are many times that I put on lipsticks and I don't think that they look that great, but I feel like all the ones that I've tried, even the one that I was really afraid of, which is the Dragon Girl Candy Red type lipstick, that they've all looked kind of nice on me. So that has been impressive. I don't feel like there's as much of a diversity of different looks that I can get, as is the case with, for instance, the Lisa Eldridge lipsticks, or MAC has a really wide variety of different shades, most of which I can't wear at all. So if you're looking for a particular shade, then you may want to look at some other line, particularly those two. But I think that for this line, there are quite a few shades, and I think that they probably will be flattering to many different kinds of skin tones. Now, also in this video footage, I am using a Nars eyeshadow palette. So this is the Nars Laguna eyeshadow palette. It's a quad, and it has 4 different shades that are kind of a golden brown type of a shade, 3 of these are shimmers and 1 of them is a matte. And this is still available on the Nars site, and I think it's also for sale at Nordstrom. And although this looks like a really boring palette, I have found it to be really terrific in terms of being something that I can wear and that will flatter my eyes and bring just a little bit of pretty attention to my eyes without going overboard. And I think that this goes really well with pretty much every makeup look that I have paired it with. So it's very versatile, and I think that if I were going to have just one eyeshadow palette from now on, this would definitely be the one that I would choose. Now this palette does contain some talc in some of the shades, but overall I have found that this has been working really well for me. I don't feel like it's been irritating. It doesn't have any other ingredients in it that I perceive are particularly problematic, except for the talc. If you're concerned about talc, I'm not all that concerned about talc unless it's a product that I'm afraid that I'm going to be breathing in because it could be contaminated with asbestos. But in this case, the fallout from these eyeshadows has really been minimal, and I feel like it's been working really well on my eyes. Nars does have a couple of other eyeshadow palettes that I'm interested in that are available right now on the Nars site and in some other places. The first one is a palette that came out, I think, in maybe the late spring, which is called the Nars Orgasm Rising palette, and that one includes a variety of kind of pinks and golds. And I think that that could be really pretty, but I think that this Laguna shade is much more versatile in terms of the usage of it, but I might pick up the other palette as well. The new palette for the holiday season is called Endless Nights, and it includes, again, some pinks and some shimmery colors that I think would be much more of a statement type of an eyeshadow, but that I think maybe I could make work for me as well. So it may be the case that before this holiday season is over, I will try to pick up one or both of those products. Now, I have seen quite a few people suggest that this face palette might be a good eyeshadow palette, and so I did give that a try. I found that for me that this face palette did irritate my eyes substantially. I think it must be one of the ingredients in it that is not too bad for my face because my cheeks are thicker skin, but that if you put it on the thin skin on my eyes, then that makes it a little bit more problematic, and I have to be a little bit more careful in terms of which ingredients I use. So I'm not going to be using it on my eyes, and I haven't seen Nars even suggest that it could be used on the eyes. So if you have eyes that are not very sensitive, then you could give it a try, but I don't feel like it really looked that great on my eyes, and certainly I don't want to wear anything that's going to be irritating my eyes. In terms of applying this product on my face, I have been using this brush from BK Beauty, Angie Hot and Flashy, which is called the A507 Blush Brush. And I think that this has been working really well in terms of fitting really well into these little palettes and allowing me to pick up a reasonable amount of product and to put it on my face. So if you're looking for a blush brush, I do really like this particular one. And then the other products that I'm using to complete these makeup looks are just kind of my standbys in terms of the products that I always use when I'm trying to do a look that's really fast. So I'm using the Jones Road face pencils as well as the Jones Road eyebrow pencils to create really, really fast concealer and eyebrow looks for me without having to go through any particular amount of trouble. I've also been using the Laura Mercier Real Flawless Luminous Perfecting Pressed Powder to just touch up my face a little bit. I think that this has been a really nice powder for me and creates just a very slightly shimmery but very pretty look. So I have been liking this product more and more. I used to be a really big fan of the Kosas powder, and I still like that, but I still think that this one might be a little bit better. And then I'm also using in most of these looks a little bit of eye pencil and a little bit of mascara. And for this one, I'm using the Ilia mascara, which has been working really well for me. So now let's talk about the shades that are in this palette. There are 6 shades. One of them is just a pure highlighter, and that is called Wild Side, and it is described as a metallic shimmering champagne gold. And then there's a couple of other products that are only mildly shimmery. One of those is Hot Spot, which is described as a satin soft peach, and one is called Sabrina, which is a satin terracotta red brown. I think some people are using that shade Sabrina as more of like a bronzer, but I feel like for my face, just using it as a blush has worked perfectly fine. I like a neutral blush like that in a lot of cases. And then there are 3 more shades that I think are all pretty shimmery. So the first one is called Silver Screen, which is described as a metallic cool pink. The second one is called City Lights, and it is described as a satin persimmon orange, but I think that this is actually quite shimmery rather than just being satin. And then the last one, and the one that I find to be most scary, is the Vertigo, which is described as a metallic brilliant red. So that one actually was one that I really didn't think that I was going to be able to wear at all. And the first few times that I put that on, I really felt like it was much too bright for me. But then I decided to try it with the bright Powermatte lipstick that I got as actually a sample called the Dragon Girl one, which is kind of a candy red. And I found that when I put both of those colors together, that they looked like they really kind of belonged together on my face. So I think that's something that I could wear for a really bright look in the fall, but I think it might be especially nice in the winter as we get close to Christmas, and that could be a really pretty Christmas look. So I'm not sorry that I picked it up. But in general, I feel like all 6 of these shades are working really well on my face, and that I can combine the gold one with any of the other colors that are in the palette. And I'm really using just each one of these individually, but I think that if you like a brighter blush look, that you could combine them as well. So one thing that I will say is that for the most part, I tend to be someone that really leans into sort of a no makeup type of a look. And so the Nars looks that I've been creating with this palette and these lipsticks are a little bit more obvious that I'm actually wearing makeup than what I usually do. But I think that they're all very attractive and kind of elegant and polished type of looks that I feel comfortable in. So I'm kind of glad that I picked them all up. So thank you very much for watching all the way to the end of the video. And if you have tried any Nars products, then I would be interested in hearing what you thought of them. In addition, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, then I would really appreciate it if you would go ahead and do that. And Coco and I love you very much, so thank you very much for watching. Goodbye. Dum dum.